Today I'm going to show you how thinking about some arrows and the direction of those arrows can really help you hit the driver better, straighter and longer than you've hit it before. So welcome back to the Forest of Arden. We're on the tee here on the 13th hole, specifically talking about the driver and thinking about some directions and some arrows. This will become clearer as we progress through this video. Just before we get into the content, if you're not a subscriber, it is absolutely free. There's a link in the description box below and there's one at the end of the video as well. Just give that a click and also hit the little bell icon as well. That just means you'll be notified when I do upload a video, and I really believe these videos can help you play some better golf. So in today's video, you are going to learn specifically with the driver how the pushing on the ground can really influence the movement of the golf club. And you're going to learn today the direction that you should push, when you should push, and ultimately how that controls the golf club head to give you better drives. So let's get straight into this lesson. So we have two really important connection points. We have our connection with the golf club, which is through our hands, and we have our connection with the ground, which is through our feet. And those are really important because we can't change those. So if we're looking to move this golf club around our body at some speed, and obviously we are with the driver, and most people out there would like some more speed, translating to some more distance, we really have to do that by applying some sort of force to the ground. If ever, I'm sure you've never done this, but if ever you were to find yourself on a sheet of ice trying to swing a golf club, it would almost be impossible, because as soon as you start to move that golf club, your feet would start to slip because you're naturally trying to apply a force to the ground in order to move that golf club. What we generally tend to find is that the poorer drivers don't tend to push or apply that force in the right place in the golf swing or in the right direction. So we're going to go through that today. So we're going to kind of split this into three areas. We're going to kind of split it into a backswing sort of area, a transition, a first move down, and then what you're going to do through impact. So let me take a starting position to this golf ball. And I'm just going to illustrate now the direction that I want you to feel like you're pushing in the backswing. So you'll notice that's pretty much straight upwards away from the ground, and that's really important. Lots of golfers, when they make their golf swing, that arrow will be upwards, but it will be shifted off to the right somewhere. Those golfers tend to have this kind of backswing where they tend to shift off the golf ball too much to their sort of trail side in the backswing. What we'd actually like to do is feel like there's almost like a bit of an upload in the backswing. So we're almost using the ground and more so our trail side, and we're sort of pushing through our trail side in that direction as we're winding up to the backswing. What that's going to do is it's going to create some upward force, and it's going to allow you to stay pretty centered whilst making a full rotation. So I don't want you to get too sort of bogged down here with pressures and numbers, just a sort of concept when you're playing. And this video is very much a concept. It's, you know, you're going to go to the range hopefully with these visuals in your mind, with these concepts, these ideas, which I think are really going to help you. So when I'm over this golf ball, I'm trying to visualize that line up through my body, and I'm trying to almost feel as if I push through that line. Take a look at some of the world's longest hitters. I'm not talking the PGA Tour here, I'm talking the world long drive golfers. Your people like Kyle Berkshire, your people like Joe Miller. They will have a very pronounced upward shift in the backswing, almost a gaining of height. They're pushing up vertically away from the ground. We maybe don't want it to that extreme, but that's the kind of sensation that we're going to have. So we've now made our backswing, we've made a good rotation, we've got some force going up away from the ground. Where do we want to start our downswing? Well, most golfers are fairly confident with the idea that we want to be shifting towards the target. So that would be sort of out this way. But I want you to think about that direction as being, yes, out towards the target, but also down towards the ground. So if I make my backswing here, I can illustrate that with this arrow, so you can see the direction that I'm trying to move in. I'm not trying to move towards the target. I'm trying to move down and towards the target. Now, as I do this, what I'm able to do is I'm able to compress my body a little bit more. I'm able to create some more angles, which we tend to see from the longer hitters. Rory's a great example of that. I'm able to get some pressure under my lead side early, generally by the time my lead arm is level with the ground and the way down. And again, this is what we tend to see from the best drivers of the golf ball. They tend to get a good pressure shift early. They tend to increase the angles in their body because that's loading their body ready to rotate and explode into the golf ball. So again, lots of golfers out there are under the impression that we should be shifting towards the target. towards the target often creates an upward movement to the lead shoulder. It often creates too much tilt away from the target, and they often end up backing up onto their trail foot far too early in the golf swing. Very easy from here to swipe across it, hit slices, heel strikes, those shots that we want to try and eradicate. So from the top, you're going to feel that you make this kind of forward and down movement, getting some pressure into your lead side. So where do we go through impact? Well, through impact, we generally want that arrow to be pretty much up away from the ground, but also slightly angled back towards your trail side, so slightly away from the target. And there's a reason for that. I'm going to show you this in a fairly extreme example here. If you can imagine my center of mass, my weight, that's pretty much in the middle of me here. So we'll use my sort of zip as a reference point. Now, if I use my left foot as the contact with the ground, look at the angle between my left foot and that center of mass. It's angled. So when I push through my left side, it actually pushes me roughly back in that angle. If I was to move my center of mass over my left side and now push, that pushes me more vertically. So when we're using the drive, we tend to have a wider stance. We tend to have the center of mass more behind that lead foot. And so once we've made our initial shift down, when we start to push now, we almost push up and feeling like we push back a little bit. And many of the best drivers in the world, you'll see the head moving slightly back away from the target through impact. And that's absolutely fine. They're still loading pressure onto that lead side early on, but it's the nature of the stance and the golf swing that we're making that means that when they start to push, it's slightly more back away from the target, and that allows them to get this nice extended body position through the ball. Don't get me wrong, I certainly don't want anybody going into this position and then jumping onto that back foot. That's not what we're saying, but just by the fact of the center of mass being behind that lead foot, when you push, it will tend to push you more up and back. So we have 3 ideas and concepts. I appreciate this might be something you've not heard, it might be something that's different, but give it a go. I think you'd be surprised at how good the results can be just by having these fairly simple concepts and these imaginary arrows which are working pretty much straight up from the ground, down towards the target and into the ground, and then back up and away from the target. Let's go ahead and hit this drive, so if we can put those things into practice and give you a fairly good demonstration of what I've just gone through. And I would not have that one back. That's just up the left side, should be just catching the fairway. The flight was good, the strike was good, and I'd certainly be pretty happy with the distance I got from that drive. So just thinking about some arrows, sounds fairly simple, but actually what we're really doing is focusing very much on using the ground, some force, some ground force reactions, and that can really help you add some speed and some consistency to how that club is delivered to the ball. And certainly with the drive, that can give you longer, straighter drives, which pretty much everybody would like, wouldn't they? Thank you for watching. Usual stuff is down below. Comments box down there. Leave me a comment. Give it a like if you did like the video. Give it a thumbs up. That really does help me. And also click that subscribe button and that bell icon if you're not a subscriber. Would love to have you part of our community, and I really think I can help you play some better golf this year. Thanks for watching.